Welcome to Tech Talk, y'all.
Hello and welcome to Tech Talk, y'all. Episode 354. I'm Sanjay Park.
And I'm Adam Walker, and we've got a fun-filled episode for you today. If this is your first time joining us because you're a new subscriber, as are all one of you, welcome. And
where have you been all of this time not listening to us?
Yeah.
This being your first episode.
Yeah.
But welcome.
Yeah, we're glad to be
Tech
here.
Talk, y'all, newbie.
We got some good stuff. We got some legal stuff. We got a lot of Elon Musky stuff. We have Weird and Wacky coming up for you, and one story in particular there about hugging, oddly enough. And then of course Tech Recs at the end. You're gonna like my Tech Rec for this week. I think it's gonna be a really helpful one for you. Yeah.
I think Elon really should have a scent called Elon Musky.
That'd be so good. It'd be so good.
I think it would not smell great, actually. And it would actually tell you people that you should avoid based on their smell. So
you already know people you should avoid based on their Cybertrucks. So anyway,
yes, 100%.
There's
one right around the corner for me.
Is there really?
Yes, we see it all the time when we go walking.
Yeah.
It is on the main road. I see it sitting out there all the time.
Okay.
And I sometimes audibly, but most of the time just to myself snicker at them.
Yeah, I like
it's
that.
So ugly. It's so ugly.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
All right. First up, the feds are coming for John Deere over the right to repair. This is the story that we just keep on talking about for
I think we've been talking for 7 years now about this.
And it just won't go away. You know, it's like John Deere just doesn't get it. They really don't want people repairing their stuff. So,
I think they just want to make sure that we have something to talk about that relates to John Deere.
And
they're
I
like, those Tech
that.
Talk, y'all guys,
they've
been talking to us since about us since episode 1. Let's give them another go at it.
So for those of you that are unaware of John Deere in this particular battle, John Deere designs and builds their tractors in such a way that the farmers that own and drive their tractors are essentially unable to repair them on their own. There's too many computerized systems, too many proprietary systems. And so for the longest time, they've had to pay exorbitant amounts of money to go to a John Deere authorized dealer, whatever, to fix their tractors, which, as you might imagine, it's not like just taking your car into a shop. It's a much more involved thing than that.
There's no independent shops for tractors like this. And one of the things that they do is if you replace one of the parts and it's not yet authorized with the other parts in the thing, it's not going to work until a John Deere person comes over there with a little computer and basically says good to go, right? Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with the part. There's nothing that
just doesn't work.
Improper until you paid the fee to John Deere about this. So because of this, there has become a vibrant market of kind of older tractors that don't have any of these parts that are much more easy to fix that now exists. And so, the feds are obviously and properly coming after John Deere over this right to repair, which is law now.
Right.
And it matters to all of us actually as consumers, even if you are not a farmer, because the things that farmers go through, the more expensive they have, you and I pay for them.
We pay for
when
that.
we go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. When those costs go up, we pay for it.
And look, John Deere, you should get paid for the things that you make and stuff, but not overly.
Yeah.
Right?
And not continually, right? You've sold the tractor.
Right.
You should not continually. I mean, come on, just let it go.
Yeah. So, they didn't sell the tractor on subscription.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe they should. Maybe they should do. Yeah.
Maybe that might be the reason to do all of this. But somebody else that now that you've got a subscription with is maybe going to be more valuable. Sam's Club just opened its first new location in 7 years. And surprise, it doesn't have any checkout lanes. Yeah. So they're using all that newfangled technology.
Yep. Yeah.
To do the checkout.
We tagged 2 articles for this because the first one we tagged was behind a paywall, which annoyed me. So I went and found a different article that's not behind a paywall. And so I mean, they're doing what I don't understand why this isn't more common already. Like, you grab the item off the shelf, you have an app on your phone, you scan that item, on your phone, you put it in your cart, you go to whatever area, you hit the button on your phone to pay for all the items that you scan and put in your cart, and you leave. Like, that seems amazing to me. Why can't we do that right now? Like, why Like that seems great.
I'll take you one up from there.
Okay.
I don't know if you've had the experience of going to a Uniqlo clothes store. Have you ever been to Uniqlo?
No, I don't think so.
So here's the fascinating thing at Uniqlo. So they are a Japanese company, and there is
I have been to the store. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay. So you get all of the things that you're buying, all the clothes, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get to the checkout lane. It's a self-checkout lane. You don't scan the items. You just dump them all into like this little bin.
Yeah.
And then the bin is like, and it figures out all the stuff in there, and then it gives you the price, and then you're done.
Also easier. Like, why aren't we doing that? Like, at least it's a go-between. Yeah.
They basically have, I think, and I'm not looked into this, RFID tags in each one of the items.
Exactly.
That tells you what the item is, and then it just rings it all up. So there's no scanning. There's nothing else like that. So my one up on you here is with Sam's Club, like, why don't you do that? So that we don't even have to have an app on the phone. You just put it in the cart.
Yeah.
And then as you roll out, like, you're done. Like you pay, you're done.
Yeah.
There you go. Like,
because there's lots of problems with the whole app on the phone thing. If your battery dies, if your phone's malfunctioning for some reason, if you forget your phone at home, God forbid. Or if you are one of those people that like doesn't have it, like smartphones are not ubiquitous to humans. It's not like every human is assigned a smartphone, and they're required to have them on them at all times. Like, that's
at birth, you get issued your smartphone for life. That's not a thing.
Yeah. So I do like your version better, where it seems a little more accessible to everybody. So that would be,
exactly. And then just, if you don't, I mean, to be in Sam's Club, you've got to have a membership.
Yeah.
So if you want to make this easy, then just tie a payment method to that membership.
Yeah.
And then, as you're rolling out, like, it's like, you're good. Just head on out. Right.
Yeah. Right.
Make this simple. So,
yeah. All right. Next up, AI detectors falsely accuse students of cheating with big consequences. So this article starts out with a story of a student, and she is neurodivergent. And she had just gone back to school, and she gets accused of, she writes an essay, she gets a 0 on the essay. And she goes to the professor and says, the professor says, well, we ran it through an AI analysis checker, and it came back as probably AI written, and that's why I got a 0. She fought it, whatever. She said, explained she's neurodivergent. And because of that, she writes more formulaically like an AI might. And so she got her grade back, but then they were like, well, but if it gets flagged again, you're going to be in trouble. And so this is the discussion I want to have, right?
So become non-neurodivergent by the next paper.
Yeah, just change your brain.
Yeah.
I believe that AI detectors is basically a false pseudoscience. It's not going to work. It's never going to work. The AI is getting too good, too fast.
Right.
As good as the AI detector is, it can't be good enough. It's competing. They're the same thing.
It's a detector.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same. And not only that, I'm not sure that we even should be using AI detectors. So I guess my first question to you is like, what do you agree with that premise, right? And if that's the case, like, what should be done? Like, what like, let's talk about that for a minute.
Yeah. So first of all, in the article, it says it has a 1% to 2% false positive rate, which means that's huge.
Which basically means it's worthless. Like that's what that tells me. Like, that's the other thing I was going to say is like,
it needs to have a 0% false positive rate to actually be valuable.
That's
because,
right.
Look, this is just like, the issue that we have with, sending people to prison and things like that. Like, any false positive rate means innocent people are going to jail.
Yeah.
Also, innocent people are being accused of using tools that they didn't use and plagiarizing work, which they didn't do.
Not okay.
So here's the problem. And this has been going on for a long time, right? We've talked about CAPTCHAs and just the annoyance of that. Like, I fail CAPTCHAs all the time. I'm pretty sure I'm still human.
All the time. Yeah.
Right. And the CAPTCHAs are getting even more difficult.
Oh, yeah, they're terrible.
Tell me which ones are laying down versus flying which animals are flying. Like, I don't know.
They're all in a blue background. Is it blue carpet? Is it a sky? What is that?
I understand.
Yeah. I don't even know what's going on.
Pick the picture that's like the lion in the crown in these. Like, what is happening here?
Yeah.
So we've been doing that there, and it's getting progressively harder for humans to do those things.
Yeah.
I fail them, like I said, all the time. I fail these things because I don't know which block I'm supposed to actually be clicking on.
Right.
And now we're doing it in this stuff. And so I think you're right. I think like this is a losing battle.
There's no way to fight
do this. Right?
There is one way I could think of. One way that I could think of. Two ways. There's 2 ways I can think of where somebody could be absolutely guaranteed that they wrote the work. Way number one is they come into a classroom and they have to do it in one sitting, right?
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
That has its own inherent problems. There are people that don't perform well under pressure. There's lots of issues with that.
Right.
The other way is a video camera sitting right behind them as they're doing their work, watching their face, watching their screen, watching them type and analyzing what they're typing. And are they actually doing, like, that's literally the only way, which is an invasion of privacy, right? That's the only way to do it.
Yes. And we've talked about one of these stories way back in the past, about a school requiring this, I think for test taking, a college, it was an online thing. And then they were sued, for exactly that, for our invasion of privacy, because it took like the rest of the room. And I don't know, there was some kind of issue. I forgot
maybe
what it was,
like a screen recording, like maybe you have to record your screen while you're typing the thing. Then, I mean, the problem then, of course, being that you can just be on a different screen looking at what the AI has produced and just typing that in. I mean, you know,
right. Exactly. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, this issue is like, we're not solving the actual problem, right? We're solving the symptoms of the problem. People are doing this because they feel like they don't really want the education or need the education. They just need the grade and they just need to graduate.
That's right.
Right. So, you know, I think there's multiple ways that you can actually solve this problem. Like if you, at the end, you know, if you can't get a job because you actually didn't learn the stuff, then that eventually fixes the problem.
Well,
but also maybe it's, eventually, eventually people are like, oh, if I do this and I don't learn the things, then there's no point in doing all of this stuff anyways.
Right.
But that's much longer solve. But I think there's got to be some other solve at the earlier side. Like, look, like teaching people like, look, if you don't really want to do this, if you don't really want to learn this stuff and love this kind of academia and opportunity to learn, don't do this. Like, go do something else. You don't need to do this.
Right.
Leave it to the people that are actually interested in doing this stuff. So
and improving.
I don't know what the solution is, but it's, this is not the solution. This is not the way.
A 1% failure rate is not that. It might as well be 80%. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's immaterial at that point.
This is the opposite of Mandalorian. This is not the way.
This is not the way.
Yeah, exactly. Something else that's not the way is this. Well, it is the way because of something that was not the way. U.S. to probe Tesla's full self-driving system after pedestrian killed in low visibility conditions. Hey, I have an idea. Maybe you should use things other than visual cameras to detect things that are out there. Maybe that's an idea. Maybe you should not get rid of LiDAR and things like that will make you better than humans in terms of visibility. I don't know. Just a random crazy idea I had.
I was thinking that exact same thing. Like there are, and it's fringe cases, but there are moments while you're driving where you literally have zero visibility.
Right.
And that LiDAR, that would never be the case. Never.
Yeah. Never.
And so like, why would you not have that built into your system?
I mean, the point, and we said this, I think I've said it so many times, the point of machines and computational access and all of these things that we have developed as humanity and as society over time is to make things better.
Better than humans.
Why would you rely on things that are just as good as humans and be like, it'll be better?
I don't want my self-driving to be as good a driver as me. I want it to be 10 times better than me.
Right.
At least 20 times better. Oh, and I should say too, like in this story, we're talking about this because that's the reason the pedestrian got hit. There was an accident. Somebody got out to deal with the accident. There was a Tesla driving along. It was low visibility. The sun was blinding the driver and apparently blinding the Tesla. And the Tesla struck the vehicle and the pedestrian, killing the pedestrian. That's why they're looking into, their quote full self-driving system, which of course we know is not full self-driving. So
I think that the better term for something like this, full self-driving, should be like zero road deaths system, right? Like that should be your goal. It shouldn't be full self-driving.
Yeah.
It should be creating an opportunity where there are zero deaths.
Yeah.
Directly, indirectly, whatever, from the vehicle on the road. So if you're doing something that violates zero road deaths, don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah,
do the other thing.
Do the other thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Because we have many deaths already.
Yeah, too many.
Let's get them to zero.
Yeah.
I think you're up next, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Pennsylvania Governor Shapiro, law enforcement should, quote, take a look at, end quote, Elon Musk's voter payments. So this is related to Musk committing to essentially $1 million lottery for registered voters, which appears to be illegal.
Signed to their PAC. Signs up to their PAC as well.
Oh, so they have to be registered voters and sign up to their PAC. and then they're entered into the lottery for $1 million, which again feels to me a lot like buying votes and like a tech mogul.
Which I don't know if you know this, but that's illegal. It's been illegal in the U.S. Pretty much since the beginning
for a very long time.
Yeah, because
and honestly, even if it's not illegal, it's shady. I mean, it's just shady. It is. And I don't like shady. So
you're not Slim Shady.
I'm not. I was just listening to that before. I was just to that pump up for a thing, and and then little Houdini as well. Back again. Anyway, so there you go.
Yeah. So
tell a friend.
Yeah. Yet not another not great move from Elon Muskie.
Yeah.
And talking about not great moves from Elon Muskie, here's another one for you. Blade Runner 2049 producers sue Elon Musk over robo-taxi imagery in the exact same way that happened with OpenAI and what was it, Scarlett Johansson? Not allowing her voice. They asked Blade Runner if they could use the imagery. They said no, and they're like, okay, then we'll just make it up with AI.
I mean,
come on.
Okay, so there's only so many ways that a car can look futuristic, right? So
no, there's not. He came out with Cybertruck, which looks awful and is futuristic, and nobody had thought of it before because everybody else is like, "That's gross."
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, because we talked a week or two ago about somebody else suing Robotaxi because it looked too much like iRobot, right? And so, did they intentionally rip it off, or is it just that this is what a futuristic car sort of look? I mean, it's like.
But they had a actor that looked like whatever actor it is in Blade Runner 2049, similar looking, involved as well, right? So
so they're poking the bear on that one. That's a bad idea.
Yeah,
okay,
I would say not great.
Yeah, it's a bad idea. Yeah. All right, speaking of just great ideas, T-Mobile, AT&T oppose unlocking rule, claim locked phones are good for users because everybody knows having a phone that's locked to a carrier is what you'd prefer. So, I think their whole point is that they can offer more subsidized rates because they spread out phone payments over longer periods of time because they know that phone is locked into their carrier and therefore that phone is not going to be taken away from their carrier. I think that's actually a pretty decent argument, but I don't think you can say it's good for users per se either. So that's fine. I mean, I don't care. I get it. They have to make sure their money is secured. That's what they're trying to do here. That's fine.
On the other side of it, the weird good guy in all of this is Verizon, who's like, yeah, we unlock these phones automatically. User doesn't even have to ask. They get unlocked after they're paid off, done.
So they don't. So they automatically. So T-Mobile, they don't automatically unlock them afterwards. Interesting.
No. So the proposal is 60 days after they're kind of done. They should be unlocked automatically.
Oh, I read that as 60 days after activation. Was it after activation or was it after payoff?
I thought it was after payoff.
Because I read it as 60 days after activation, meaning that somebody could say, hey, I'm going to pay for this iPhone 16 for the next 24 months. And then 2 months in, they could run away. And then all they can do is ding their credit. There's nothing else they can do about it.
Yeah. So you're right. It's 60 days after activation.
Yeah.
Within 60 days of activation.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of opportunities. There's different ways that they can figure out how to give subsidized phones. And honestly, in a lot of countries around the world, there's not such a thing as subsidized phones.
Well, they're not. Let's be honest, though. These phones are not subsidized anymore. They used to be.
Right.
It used to be that
you're just paying off over time.
So I worked for Singular as my first adult real job. And back then, you could
company that doesn't exist anymore.
Yes, that's correct. And back then there would be $1,000 phone and the customer would end up paying $300. And that was legitimately subsidized because you're in a 2-year contract. But now with T-Mobile, there's no, I literally just did this the other day with my son. He wanted to get the new iPhone and there's no difference. You can go and pay the $1,000 cash today, or you can spread that out over 24 months and pay exactly $1,000 cash over 24 months. That's not subsidized. That's spreading out payment. Those are very different things.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And so here's the other part of me that it's okay, this would be good as a thing to get rid of other countries around the world, because what I think this motivates people to do is to continually upgrade phones. And create
they don't feel
more,
the pain.
Right. And create more electronic waste.
Yeah.
For really not that
no
great of a difference.
There's no reason. No.
Right.
Like I have an iPhone 13. I don't know. I don't have a good reason to get the iPhone 16. Like there's not very much performance difference at all.
I've got the Samsung S20. So it is 4 years old now at this point.
Yeah.
I can't see. It's still in perfect condition.
Yes, fine.
There's not a blemish on the screen because I use a case.
Yeah.
And I use a screen protector.
Right.
It works perfectly. Like I don't know when I'm going to be upgrading. It's not next year.
No.
It's not the year after that, probably. It may be 3 years from now. So I'm going to get maybe 7 years out of this phone.
Yeah.
Hopefully more. Like, I think people need to just really consider, do you really need the newest and latest? Like, if your phone is totally decimated, whatever, then okay, maybe it makes sense. But
otherwise,
take a beat.
Take a beat.
Time for the Weird and Wacky segment.
Abominable snowman.
He's not an axe murderer.
One of the TAs turned out to be a bot.
Okay, our first and pretty much only story. There's two stories kind of related. Related to hugging and cuddling at the airport. So airport imposes hug time limit, suggests moving PDA to parking lot. And then the other story, cuddle time capped. New Zealand airport limits goodbye hugs to 3 minutes.
Okay, so I gotta say a couple things first. All right,
and we both tagged these articles independently because we both found them hilarious.
Number one, you know for sure this wasn't in the U.S., right? Like as soon as you read that, you're like, "There's no freaking way that's a U.S. airport where they had to impose a hugging limit." Like the U.S. airport, you're like. Your family's driving you, and you're lucky if you get your bag out of the car before it's already moving away. You're literally like grabbing it out, and the trunk's like flailing open in the wind, and they're cruising, they're gone. You know, like, there's cops screaming at you, like it's a whole thing.
That's what I was thinking. Like I've never had time to do that because keep it moving.
No, it's more like
screaming at you.
Oh, I forgot to tell my wife goodbye. Like that's more of what happens, and then I'm getting a text. It's like, sorry, I didn't get to tell you goodbye. I love you. You know, like, They must be much nicer in New Zealand. But I mean, so apparently there was a problem with people giving long emotional goodbyes. And so the government there just put up some friendly signs that was like, hey, if you need a longer time to say goodbye, there's a parking lot. Like a couple like kitschy signs, and they got some like backlash for it. I'm like, dude, like, come on. If you're taking more than 3 minutes to say goodbye at an airport, like, let's be real here, people. Like, come on now. Like,
I love how in the article they're like, look, your maximum oxytocin release
20 seconds.
20 seconds.
20 seconds.
So
a hug for 20 seconds. Yeah.
You don't need to hug for longer than that. But I got to tell you, like, this sign that they have up in the article, you listeners, you should click on the article and look at the sign. But it says max hug time 3 minutes, and underneath it says, and then there's like these stick figures hugging. For fonder farewells, please use the car park. I so want this sign and go to like MARTA, like the kiss and ride things, and put them up there. Because people park in those things for way too long, and they're not saying goodbye; they're just parking there. But I think this is funny, and I think it would be hilarious to put it up in a MARTA.
I'm going to make a bold proclamation here.
What's that?
I think we would be hard pressed to find any Americans that are hugging in public to say goodbye for more than 3 minutes. Like that. It feels like okay, Hartsfield Jackson is probably the busiest airport in the world.
Yeah.
That I guarantee you that does not even happen once a day. Like there's just no, like, we're just not wired that way, I guess. I don't know, but like it just strikes me as so I mean, I love it. Like I would love to be a part of a culture that liked to give goodbye hugs for 3 minutes. I think maybe I don't know.
More than 3 minutes. More than 3 minutes.
I feel like maybe I'd be captive at that point. I don't know.
I mean, then you've got to really like build that into your plan of what time you're going to get to the airport, right? Like, okay, well, my flight's at 10. I need to be there by 8. But then we're going to have a hug for like 20 minutes. So then really I need to be there at 7:40.
Well, you have to multiply by the number of people. You have 3 minutes per person, right? So if the whole family's taking you got to really think through, like, wait, who's going tomorrow? Because that, like, 2 people are okay. So we can leave 10 minutes.
Can we do it as a group hug or is it one-on-one hugs?
So
because if it's all one-on-one, I got to add more time in. If it's a group hug, then we can get it done in the 3.
You got to think through this stuff.
Yeah.
Tech wreck, time to get your tech wreck.
Tech wreck. Chicky.
Tech wreck. Time to get your tech wreck.
All right, Sanjay, it's Tech Wreck time. What do you have for us this week?
So this is going to be a little bit of a rabbit hole, but
Okay.
I started looking. So I've been having these problems with some rechargeable batteries in some of the devices around the house. And so I started looking at, I was like, I need to find some higher capacity rechargeable batteries. I started digging down and I find out that there are lithium rechargeable batteries. So the recommendation is this rechargeable AA lithium 8-pack with a charger.
Okay.
And the reason why it has a charger, there is a specific reason. So I started going down this rabbit hole. So regular AA alkaline batteries provide 1.5 volts of power. Okay.
Right.
Your rechargeables, like the Eneloops that I've recommended in the past year, so your NiCad, lithium, lithium metal hydride, all those kinds of batteries, they don't provide 1.5. They provide between 1.2 and 1.3 volts.
Okay.
And so what that means is because they're providing lower energy, the capacity there kind of gets drawn down faster in certain devices. And certain devices actually won't work with rechargeable batteries. If you've ever seen a device that says alkaline batteries recommended, this might be the reason why, because the voltage is not high enough in most rechargeable batteries. These lithium batteries do provide 1.5 volts. So here's the other thing with regular rechargeable batteries, as you start using them, the voltage starts dropping off over time because the capacity goes down. And actually alkaline batteries do the same thing. They start dropping off over time.
Okay.
These lithium batteries do not. They are constant 1.5 volts the whole time until they go dead. And then they just crater at that point. Right.
Yeah.
But that means they'll work the entire time until the very end.
Nice.
So these rechargeable batteries, they actually have to be recharged at a higher voltage because the internal of the batteries, from what I've read, is actually running at 3.7 volts.
Got it.
The other interesting thing here is these batteries are also lighter in weight than regular alkaline or rechargeable batteries.
Okay.
So if you've got a lot of batteries in something like your remote or something like that, this will actually make it lighter. So the recharger is required to use it. And it uses just a USB-C cable to plug it in. You can actually long-term just leave these plugged in because it'll continue to trickle charge the batteries and it will not ruin those lithium batteries either. So there's a lot of interesting stuff here. But I started using, I got this, it's an 8-pack. And so it charges all 8 at the same time. And I'm using 4 of them right now. And they've been in the device that I'm using it with that I've had problems with other rechargeable batteries. Now it's been weeks. And I've had not one issue yet.
Nice.
So these seem really good. They're not really from any big name manufacturers, but the one that's in the show notes is the one that I bought and it seems to work really, really well. The reviews were great on Amazon. So that's why I took the plunge. So take a look. If you're having problems with your rechargeable batteries, take a look at some lithium batteries. Of course, you're going to have these new chargers for them, which is a little annoying to me because I've got other battery chargers, but look, if I don't have to deal with it as often, this could be a great thing. So
nice.
One last word of warning, regular batteries a lot of times give you a milliamp hour rating. These guys have kind of toyed with the marketing stuff and they give you milliwatt hours, which are not exactly, but they inflate the numbers. Even though they're actually not as high. So you've got to be careful with the numbers because it's not actually apples to apples. So just be aware of that.
All right.
There you go. Adam, what do you have for us this week?
Something very, very different. So the app, it's an app called Giftful. And essentially, like, you got your Amazon wish list. The problem is there's a ton of stuff that's just not for sale on Amazon. And this is an app that my daughter was like, we need a better gift list solution for the family as we buy each other gifts for the holidays and stuff. And so you can create your gifts. You can put them in a different list. I've got like a list for the Jeep. I've got a list for like clothing and stuff. I've got a list for my new hiking thing. And I'm pulling, links from all over the place and some from Amazon and some from other places. You drop the link in, it auto populates photos and price and all that stuff for you. Most of the time it works pretty well. And then you can also follow other users. So like I can follow my mom and see what her gifts are. But then not only that, but I believe there's a way in it. I haven't got to this stage in using the app yet, but when you buy a gift, you can mark that gift as purchased and other people following would know that I purchased the gift, but I think the person that created the list might not know that I purchased. So like I have to think through how. So it's just like it never even occurred to me like, hey, have a wish list outside of Amazon. And like, but now that I do, I've got stuff from Allbirds on there. I've got stuff from like Walmart.com on there because there's stuff that on Walmart.com that's not on Amazon. I've got stuff from Amazon. I've got Jeep gear on there from a Jeep specific website. I've got like, so like it really broadened the horizon a lot for like gift lists, which is kind of.
So this is, I just, as you were talking, I looked at the frequently asked questions because I was like, how much does this cost? Yeah. It doesn't cost anything.
Yeah.
Because they're using referral links probably. So they're getting a percentage of your transaction when you click through on there.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
Because users will use this and continue to use it because it doesn't cost them anything.
Yep.
And then they're just going to get money based on
the referrals,
on the purchases.
Yeah, it's great.
So it's actually to their benefit that more people use it because more purchases will happen. So
it's a win-win. It's a win-win. So yeah, if you need a gift list for these holidays that are coming up too fast, give it a shot. So
super smart. I love it.
All right, Sanjay, how can our friends find and connect with you?
They can find me at sanjayparekh.com. What about you, Adam?
Find me at adamjwalker.com. It's got all the links.
Dun, dun, dun.